Why do the wisest, most cunning, and insightful minds become the primary targets of elimination, sabotage, or exile? Why is it that the ones who truly understand power and human nature are always silenced before they could truly rise? Niccolò Machiavelli saw it coming centuries ago. In his unforgiving lens of reality, intelligence is not celebrated, it's feared. And those who possess it are seen not as allies, but as threats. This is not merely a history lesson. This is your survival guide in a world that hunts brilliance. Because when you understand how the game works, you can stop being a target and start pulling the strings. 1. Intelligence breeds fear, not respect. In a world obsessed with control, intelligence is dangerous. Machiavelli recognized that intelligent individuals naturally question the status quo. They expose the flaws in leadership, they anticipate manipulation, and they don't blindly follow tradition. This makes them enemies of both the rulers and the ruled. The masses want comfort, not truth. And those in power want obedience, not wisdom. A sharp mind disrupts both. In Machiavelli's philosophy, intelligence is a threat precisely because it cannot be easily manipulated. 2. Power fears the uncontrollable. The sharpest minds cannot be controlled. That is why rulers despise philosophers, strategists, and truth-tellers. To be truly intelligent is to be unpredictable, and Machiavelli taught that unpredictability is a threat to stability. The intelligent man does not yield to propaganda. He resists easy narratives. He notices patterns and lies. So what happens? He is pushed to the margins, ridiculed, censored, or worse, targeted. The first rule of power, according to Machiavelli, is to eliminate threats before they grow strong enough to dethrone you. 3. History proves it. The first target is the thinker. Machiavelli himself was a victim of this truth. After serving Florence with unmatched political insight, he was exiled and tortured when the tides of power turned. Why? Because he knew too much. His understanding of political games made him dangerous. Throughout history, the first heads to roll in revolutions, purges, and coups are not always kings. They're the advisors, philosophers, intellectuals. Socrates was executed. Giordano Bruno was burned alive. Galileo was silenced. Why? Because they thought too clearly. 4. The mind that sees too much must be blinded. Machiavelli believed that power relies on illusion. The illusion of morality. The illusion of fairness. The illusion of choice. A sharp mind dismantles those illusions. Therefore, it must be neutralized. Rulers understand that controlling perception is key to controlling people. And the thinker, the one who can see the machinery behind the curtain, is a danger to that control. That's why in every corrupt regime, censorship is the first weapon drawn. It's not the sword they fear, it's the pen. 5. The sharp mind becomes a threat to the crowd. It's not just rulers who fear intelligence. The masses do too. Why? Because intelligent people expose their ignorance. They challenge comforting delusions. They ask hard questions. And most people don't want answers. They want affirmation. Machiavelli understood this brutal truth. The sharpest minds are often alone. Because to see the world as it is, rather than as we wish it to be, is a curse. It alienates. It isolates. It threatens. 6. Betrayal is inevitable for the strategist. Those who rise through intelligence will eventually be betrayed. Not because they fail, but because they succeeded. Machiavelli advised rulers to be wary of their most capable allies. Once a man has outlived his usefulness, or once his knowledge becomes a liability, he will be discarded. Your intelligence is useful only as long as it serves someone else's ambition. Once you become more dangerous than helpful, they will turn on you. And if you're truly sharp, you will see it coming. 7. The danger of knowing too much. Machiavelli taught that knowing the truth is not always empowering. It can be damning. In a world that thrives on deception, the man who knows the truth becomes the most dangerous man alive. Not because he acts, but because he might. The fear of potential, of what you could expose, what you might write, what you may reveal, makes the sharpest minds unbearable to tolerate. You may not say a word, but your very presence is a threat. That's why you're watched, followed, silenced. 8. The strategic mind is hard to trust. In The Prince, Machiavelli advises rulers to be cunning like a fox and strong like a lion. But he also warns that those who possess too much cunning are difficult to trust, even if they are loyal. Why? Because everyone suspects a manipulator. If you are intelligent enough to manipulate the game, everyone will fear that you might. Even if you don't, even if you're loyal. That's why, in the power game, intelligence alone is not enough. You must know how to appear harmless, even when you are not. 9. Hiding your intelligence is a tactical necessity. Machiavelli warns against revealing your full capacity too early. The moment people understand your true intellect, they will begin to plan against you. That's why many great strategists feign ignorance. Play the fool. Underestimate yourself. Appear naive. This is not cowardice, it's survival. The sharpest sword is often kept sheathed. Show your power too soon, and you'll never reach the throne. But hide it well, and by the time they notice, it will be too late. 10. The powerful fear competition, not enemies. Machiavelli's insights reveal a chilling truth. Rulers don't fear enemies. They fear competition. An enemy can be negotiated with, even killed. But a competitor, a mind that sees their every move, anticipates every strategy, that cannot be tolerated. This is why the sharpest minds are neutralized early. They don't even have to act. Just by existing, they destabilize the illusion of dominance. That's why kings kill their own advisors. That's why revolutions devour their own philosophers. That's why power hates brilliance. 11. The exile of the wise. Machiavelli himself was exiled. He saw this as a pattern, not a fluke. The state fears the thinker. That's why they are banished, imprisoned, or executed. Intelligence does not fade. It must be removed. The greatest minds are often forced into exile. Not because they failed, but because they succeeded too well. In seeing the world too clearly, they became mirrors that reflected the ugliness of power. And mirrors must be shattered. 12. From exile to influence. Ironically, Machiavelli's exile gave birth to The Prince, a guide for rulers from a man they discarded. His ideas outlived his enemies. That's the final twist. Though the world hunts intelligence, cannot destroy ideas. The sharper the mind, the deeper the legacy. But Machiavelli never romanticized this. He did not believe that being remembered made the pain worth it. He simply knew that in the game of power, survival comes not from being the smartest, but from hiding it until the right moment. If you've ever felt like your insight makes you an outsider, if you've noticed too much, said too little, and watched fools get rewarded for obedience, know that you are not alone. Machiavelli saw you, and he left a roadmap. Use it. Share this video with someone who's been punished for thinking too much. Comment below. Have you ever had to dim your light just to survive? Subscribe for more brutal truths and unapologetic wisdom from the world's darkest minds. Don't just be smart, be untouchable.